Hello and welcome to Kosi Nation Fan TV. Welcome to Kosi Nation Podcast episode number 5. And today I am joined by Walter. Walter, my brother, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's going to be a very nice session.
Yeah, I hope so. So quick one. Just can you give us your thoughts on the season of the Chiefs so far under Zwane? What have you seen? What do you think so far?
Yes. Okay. So for me, that question is a catch-22 because I'm in between, half-hearted, ne?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I support the vision, which at this point in time we are rebuilding. And the issue here, being a fan, is we want quick results.
Yeah.
But at the very same time, I'm supportive of the change that we are coming into slightly. So for me, let's start from the top. Ne?
Yeah.
I like the position where the club has positioned itself in a sense of giving a black coach who has been, who comes from the ranks. It's not similar like Steve Compella, where he already was a coach when he was hired as a black African coach. So I think that's a bit different. Here is a player who has played for the club, who has coached in the development side, who also understands the culture of the club and has played at the highest level at the time where we were winning cups and leagues. And he understands most where he can take the brand back to the highest that it was.
Yeah.
But the issue as well, at the same time, he's a coach. It's the first time he's actually been given this role, and he's going to make a few mistakes. Now, at the same time, our rivals, Abu Mamelodi Sundowns, they could be 5, 6, 7 years ahead of us. So now when we look at things, is our management willing to be as patient as they say they are in giving Zwane his full term, meaning the 3 years left? Because after the season, I can't fault him much because of the fact that at least this time Spelego semi-finals were MTN8. The league, half of the league, we're in number 5, so it's not that far. But obviously those mistakes now coming into the fold, where the mistakes that we've made, like, cheaper TX Galaxy, that way is inexperienced in him. We kind of saw that, this is where we missed it.
Sure.
So, that's what I'm saying. I'm half-hearted about what's going on. So, hopefully, he can get it right, maybe at the end of the season, to give him this season to test out whatever philosophy he wants to instill. Then we can make a proper assessment in saying, is he the right fit for what we're trying to achieve, or can we look elsewhere? Yeah.
No, I hear you. I think that's a good answer. Well, I don't know, depends on who you are, because I've been having these kind of debates, discussions really, with some people on Twitter, because we are divided, even us as Kaizer Chiefs fans right now, about whether Zwane is the right coach for us right now, because I genuinely believe he is, but there's someone who keeps on saying Zwane hasn't done enough to be the coach here, Chiefs. What do you have to say to people like that? Because they're saying he's not ready, and they will point out mistakes like the ones that you brought up, cheaper, like changing formation against the Cape Town City after losing to Sundowns, all those things. Uguti now, it was like he became reactive because of losing a match against Sundowns. Now it's like he changed everything about how he played. So the question then is, what would your response be to people who are saying Zwane hasn't done enough to basically become a coach at Chiefs?
My brother, it's a tough one because, I'm guessing because us being Kosi fans, maybe there would be points, because already there are points where you'd feel that Zwane, as much as he's young, we can look at other coaches or other teams that we've played against. They are not a high-profile teams or coaches even that we've either drawn or lost against. So there's a trial and error where I guess the pressure is because the brand of the club is that big. I guess that's where there's no margin for error, because when you are playing for a Sikune, for example, we don't watch those games in, week out. That's why we made certain mistakes, maybe of those coaches changing club or changing formations and personnel, whatever. We only see the result after maybe 10 games, and then the owners or being football lovers, then we see that, hey, man, the team, they have a problem. So those coaches are not under fire. You being Arthur Zwane being a coach of Kaizer Chiefs. But my response to that in being able to differ with people being anti-Mangete at this point is a point where when look, I'm not going to compare him and Peter, but we are just going to compare the fact that even the best coaches in the world start somewhere.
Sure.
So Peter started somewhere. He wasn't the big coach as he is today by just hitting the season running and starting making the right decisions.
Sure.
So with Mangete, there is a hint of him being a very good coach, because start off when he assumed his role. Wakosha, Lama players, we've been complaining about ourselves. I mean, let's be fair. Most of the players, yes, there's one or two that we would differ about, but us as coaches fans, maybe 90% agree that some of these players needed to leave.
Sure.
He made that call, coming into assuming the role. Now, the problem is when you now have to integrate, and another issue that's very niggling on my side, we're not exactly sure if the players that were bought were 100% his decision. Like, for example, Lesite, where he was already signed before he assumed the role.
True.
So you understand the Kaizer Chiefs problems could be the same problem that we've been inheriting. These other coaches that have been inheriting for so many years, where they're not given full responsibility to make signings. Because even these fine signings that they have, these ones who are trialing now, we're not sure if they're saying we are profiling. Are you your technical team profiling, or management as well still has a hand in getting those players? You understand? So Mangete's issue or his Achilles heel can be there, where if he doesn't have full responsibility of signing, he'll only be responsible for the philosophy, which that is 100% his responsibility. So coming to that, that's what I'm saying. I'm on that. Because now with the Cape Town City, exactly, you can't trust all your academy players. Ungezana has been playing for Kaizer Chiefs at a senior level for a minute now. So I'm sure you could have identified those problems. So that's why I'm saying he will make such mistakes. And it's going to be costly for him when you are at a club like Kaizer Chiefs. If you were still testing out your philosophy, if you were still in a smaller club, it's understandable. And going back to at the reserve league, wasn't that good, yeah? The highest, according to my research, the highest level was number 5, where he was able to land as a reserve league coach. So hence I'm saying that maybe the reasons guys don't like or anti-Mangete faction are not really, they don't have much weight as you would have to say that because maybe they feel he's not equipped enough. No, he's very qualified. But me, I have a problem with him having the same work ethic like Bo Pete or Pep Guardiola and those ones. You have to work very hard to bring out the best out of these players. And I feel maybe his Achilles heel again, he doesn't know how to handle high-profile players. But I could be wrong because I've seen him bench Keegan Dolly and come up with that. You understand? So that's what's like, okay, no, Mangete sometimes he knows how to make the important calls. So for me, people who are really, again, not supporting the move, they are very impatient. It's football lovers who want results now, and they want to compete with Sundowns. You can't compete with Sundowns at this point. Just be fair. Come on. It took them 8 years to be where they are. If you understand football, you understand that DNA Peter left is still there now.
Sure.
Whatever player that they buy, whatever player that they put in the first 11, whatever player they source out, the DNA. I mean, Peter had a team. That's why when he goes to different teams, he has his own technical team to show you that he has a system that he runs wherever he is. And he left that DNA with Mngeti and Roland, which now Mangete is now starting to sow and he's building.
Sure.
And that's the understanding as fans we have to have that even if we don't win anything this season, we have to at least say, but we're playing. When you look at gameplay, we've been playing. We played better than the last 3 years. Let's be fair. Helicopter football is gone now. Now we're looking at midfielders making good passes, comparing them with our legends, which is something we couldn't do in the past. We are just buying because we are desperate to win cups and titles. So that's my difference with people having to have an opinion, but they're not really looking at it with a bird's eye view in terms of if you are saying Mangete is not fit enough, give us facts. Then we'll show you as well that this guy is doing better than Baxter, Gavin Hunt, and Ernest Middendorp in his first small stints at the moment. So yeah, me, I'm supportive, but I'm also critical at the same time.
Okay, I think what you make a very good point. Let's take it back a bit because you just mentioned the coaches that is doing better than Gavin Hunt. A lot of people, I think even himself, when he did his interview, I think with Uluyolo or something. But I saw that interview. Yeah, he has talked about Uguti Chiefs did not really give him resources. So I'm just bringing this up because it's part of the issues at Chiefs. Uguti lama lezinto that they do end up affecting the club and the coaches. Do you think he was given a fair shot, Gavin Hunt, as a Kaizer Chiefs coach?
Actually, that's a good question, because let's go back there in the era. Now, I think our problems didn't start with Gavin Hunt, right? And now, because already in Supersport currently is doing well. So maybe that's why the question becomes more relevant for our situation, right? But that would depend if we do well or not. Ernest Middendorp came in. There was Solinas before, I think. Then there was Steve Kompela, and there was Vemazovic and all these foreign coaches, right? So now, then there was Baxter. So when you look at Baxter's philosophy and when you look at Gavin Hunt's philosophy, they're not much different from my side because they rely on set pieces, defensive football, defenders, and in individual brilliance, basically, meaning having a high-profile players like Bobene Parker, Eric Matoho at the back, Masha Mait, and all those guys. And to be fair, Baxter benefited from those players because they were part of the national team at the time. Remember, after 2010 and all the Tabudu and so forth. So, if you can look at it even now when he's signing there at Supersport, he does that as well. Mix of young players and experience. So he's more like a development coach, but he knows how to mix the two. So my point is, his philosophy doesn't really fit with the Kaizer from my side. Because yes, we're going to win games, but how are we winning those games? Sure. So Tinajalo, if you saw, with a small stint, we already saw enough, half-wise. Matrowing, 6 minutes, long balls, our play is not really attractive, let's be honest. Now when you look at the Kaizer Chiefs that we used to love, where total football, interpass, we have good midfielders from the back, we have flair, we're playing with flair, which is what Zwane has been saying. So with Kevin Hunty, unfortunately, our frustrations fell on him a bit too harshly. But at the same time, we have seen enough to make up our minds that even management, I guess, because now as much as he loves young players, let's be honest there, I could admit that what I love about him, he likes using young players. But unfortunately, his philosophy and the Kaizer Chiefs brand doesn't mix. You understand? Because you can see even a Supersport, he plays wing play. He relies on long balls and so, that kind of system. So I don't think for us, even if he had been given a full term, we would still be maybe at where we are now, but we'll still be complaining about the kind of football that we would play. So that's what I'm saying. Long-term wise, he's not a solution. But short-term wise, for us to start winning games and being on the top of the table and all those things, it would have been good to know. Maybe win a couple too, but still, there would be that niggling factor that we're still not happy. We're not happy, and we don't know the kind of yeah. So for me, it's a yes or no. Yes, he wasn't given enough time, but at the same time, we've seen enough to say, it wouldn't have worked out. Even so, for the long term, you know.
So I would summarize what you're saying as basically you're saying we did not give him enough time, but he shouldn't have been there in the first place. Basically, that's
done. We shouldn't have been thinking about him with that's because now the desperation of having a high-profile coach, we're looking for results. We haven't won a cup in 8 years. You know, sometimes. So if Zwane what is saying, we're no longer going to be desperate in signing anyone and anyone. We want to profile first before we bring. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I think we should be doing.
No, so I don't know whether on the understanding of this structure say Chiefs, because I don't. Okay, with the sporting director, I understand umsebenzi wakhe. Bobby football manager, what is going on there? Because I'm confused how they do things.
Yeah. And I've asked myself the same thing, and that's something also we need to also now start asking ourselves. I think there's a debate. Maybe if you can put it on your page, because what I understand also there's Gerald Sibek, who's the team manager as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of confusing things at our club at the moment, and we need to be clear. What are the functions? What are the roles? Because Upobi, to be fair, you'd feel like also that role is given as a football manager, meaning he's also part of the technical team, but also works with the the sporting director. Because obviously, according to me, I could be wrong. Sporting director maybe handles all the not sporting. Yes, let's say sporting codes for now. Let's say, for example, if you had a rugby team, a development, you have the technical or head of youth, they report to him, right? So he handles all the functions in terms of boardrooms and whatever, all the functions that have to be administrative, I guess, and dealing or sponsorships, whatever. That's the sporting director, making sure that the things that happen outside of the club are handled properly, and he makes the final decisions. But as well, maybe at some point in terms of signings and budget-wise, obviously, if we can be able to see if we are able to afford the player or not. What I don't like what they do at the same time, sometimes when Jessica does an interview, she also is asked if they're going to be signing players or not. But in what capacity is she answering those questions? You see how confusing
that's why I'm bringing this question up, because I don't know who does what. Because she's marketing, she has no business in doing with indaba of our sporting things. Because she was asked the question about, we'll talk about women's football some other time, but she's been promising us women's football. We're halfway through the season, we still don't have a women's team. There's still no development towards the thing. So it's exactly what I'm saying, Guti. Upo will say this about the signings. Kaizer Chiefs Jr. will just ghost us when it comes to interviews, and Zwane kind of echoes what Upo is doing. But now it's supposed to be the sporting director who says the things that Upo is saying. So I end up going like, what is going on? I don't know.
Yeah, and then that's where, because Julian, unokuba spaces lapha ku-Twitter, but I can't remember the last time he was there. And those are the things that we need to also ask ourselves very closely, because that's where you get to understand the fact that the mutaungs. I mean, I don't have a problem having a family business as long as these people don't affect the way things should be done in an efficient manner and very fairly. Because now, if let's say, for example, Zwane is given the role of having to sign his own players, and he has a hand, he makes the final decision. Okay, I want this player. Do we have the money for him? They profiling these ones from Hungary, the one who plays in Singapore as well. And I saw when your latest post you, and I was actually, I knew about this player for quite a while now. Lower say Ethiopia. Emmanuel Gabriel Michael. That player I wish we can get. Because I don't know if you know, Nasir, Lower say Sundowns. We, our scouts, were the first one to make, not to really make an inquiry, but we were part of.
Found him.
So if they should make it known for us so that who's doing what, whose function is doing what. And mind you, whenever they sign the player, Not you know, it's okay. Zwane was actually who signed this. I'm sure that's why I'm about coach or my city snake now. So I would know this player is not performing because when a woman
yeah.
No, Upo just said no. The last time they asked him about, I think before Caleb came, but the technical team will make a final decision. I can't comment on that. Now that for me, there was a hint of saying, okay, so this means Upobi now he's no longer the only person, or he's not part of the decision making anymore. Because remember when Junior came, there were a lot of changes, but they're more internal than what maybe to the public we know that okay, since Junior has come, this and that and this. But what I do know is Junior and Zwane they're close.
Which brings me to this, because we're talking about the signings and how we're dealing with the signings. Uguti, how do you think Chiefs have handled Indaba Bloom, talking about how they said this agent this agent that, so we're going to talk to his parents? What are your thoughts about how they've handled a contract Bloom? I know Uguti, some people are saying he has signed a contract, but the saga nje, for how long it has dragged. How do you think they've handled that issue?
Let's go back. That's another interesting dilemma that's happening at before Zwane came. When was it? Last season, Gavin Hunt. Oh no, was it in Baxter's? No, in Gavin Hunt's season when we went to the final of the CAF, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have a choice, but we couldn't sign. We were still under the FIFA ban. Gavin Hunt trusts Uplov. We're still confused. Long was still a right back at that point, and that's where he made most of his appearances on the right back, right? We are still not happy with his performance, and obviously at that time we felt like maybe he still needs to develop. Maybe when we end up signing, which is what we did, we'll sign someone else there in this position. That's where obviously we had the problem. Now Atlantic is injured. Force has to go that side. He allows Uplom, with having his courtesy enough to improve himself, because there's no one else who can play that position. Now Uplom gets more appearances. Blom starts becoming one of our key players, but we can see that since he's young, there's still a bit of room. Blom gets a call up, and it becomes a player that helps us to qualify for CAF knockout stages. The way we ran, he was part of the team, and it was very important because he had a few assists. Then gets a call up. Baxter comes in now. So still, Baxter believes in him, and Yam Seventies. So his agent now looking at the situation, they know these agents. They're always looking to capitalize on these kind of opportunities. So again, I feel our club, looking at that situation, they should have pounced on the opportunity way before the agent did. So those are the things as well that we, as fans, we need to understand that I can't fault Zwane Kakulu, but that's where the managers, or Bobby in this instance, if he had to, because he's not part of in play. But those are the outside politics that you take care of well, very, very closely. Because if your young player is doing good, contract is longer than your maybe they should have picked up. Now, when you're going to sign new players in the same position, because I saw that interview, he was making valid points. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Because when you sign Solomons, as much as it's a signing, but are you saying he's better than Plum? No. We've seen him. He's not. So, and he's older than Plum. Plum is young. Solomons hasn't been called up for a national team. Plum has. And looking at appearances that he's collected until now. For me, I don't want to lie, I was a big doubter of Plum. Plum has proved a lot of people wrong. And that's why we should give him his flowers. Because he moved right back. Convinced right. Then he comes into CDM where we had a lot of problems. Unange was not giving us a lot. Alexander was lacking here and there. In patches. And your midfield looked disjointed even when we had new signings.
Yeah.
And now we have a situation where his contract is about to expire next year. Why are you waiting? Why are you even thinking about it if you are able to give Solomon a good contract? Because more Uti. No. And but funny enough, Baxter mentioned this in an interview in Austin. Look, you bring in players who are not as young, right? Who are not old and not as young as the current players that you have, which you've developed. Now, if you want to get competition, at least if Blom had someone like Utlanti no Mashian. Mashian is quiet because Utlanti is a much more experienced campaigner than Mashian. But Solomons, and only last season you're in the NFT. You understand? Then the next season Ujala top flight football. The next season Ujala Kaizer Chiefs. Then Blom was already in top flight at the time. You understand? So when he looks at him and Solomon's, they're of the same age, but he has more experience than him. Yeah. And Abu fellows, they were fighting for relegation for crying out loud not so long ago when you were actually playing at the highest level, CAF and all that. Yeah. So Blom manager can come in pants. Those are the things that maybe came into play, and obviously other things that they've mentioned in the media. And obviously, Batebo, and I think they thought is, if they had to consider offers, it would be either in abroad, apart from playing share in the country. So, my view is, Rob Moore is trying to push Kaizer Chiefs. He doesn't want to leave. Let's be fair. That's why Rob to leave. But the manager is trying to ensure that he's been given what is due to him, and at the same time, Chiefs actually take him serious, because they should. Let's be fair. So that's my view on that our club there made a very big blunder. We made a very big mistake by doing what we did. And now it gives opportunity for our rivals, our Sundowns, but he doesn't want to. But it's just because this mistake we've done in the past. The same thing, science. We usually are too arrogant when we develop our own players, and when we have to give them their flowers, we let them go. We did the same thing. Our Choice Lebisa, we did the same thing. So we keep on making the same mistakes.
Exactly. So it can't be the agents trying being whatever. No, let's have your final remarks. This conversation will obviously continue, but I'm trying to make this podcast about 30 minutes because Sabantu Bati, they are too long. So
I know it's fine, but no hours.
I'm still trying to get them to come back. I forgot to ask you guys to subscribe. Please subscribe. Please like the video if you've been enjoying, by the way. Because I found, weird enough, I found good if I don't ask people to like, because I thought that waste time. That's why sometimes I don't even critique my video. I just go in. Because while I'm saying hello, people are leaving the video. Man, check out my stats. So when I just go into the video and say, so Palin Pachna, it, people stayed longer. So now I don't greet, people think I'm rude, and I'm trying to get more people to watch. Anyways, we're not there. We're here. Any final remarks and anything that you want to say about Chiefs right now? Because I'm sure we have had a good conversation. We'll still talk some other time, maybe even next week, maybe, So
So, for me, what I would say, especially to our viewers, man, especially Kosi Nation, is let's give our club a chance. For me, Taco Blue, I love this club. I've loved this club for the longest time, and there is phases and stages of clubs where we go through a period of drought, which is like, you can see perfect examples in Europe is Liverpool, where they went a long time without any trophies. And we're not saying we want to wait that long, but I think what
no, we don't.
I'm not saying we shouldn't wait that long, but let's support it. Let's support some decisions about inside, because funny enough, the same management that is there now, apart from, I don't want to go about the people who have left, legends, people who are actually also contributing in terms of the players that we had at the time. They're not there, but now they've recognized that, and the move that they've made is big for me. They could have done anything. They could have even called Pito, maybe. They could have, gone for the juggler and just taken another European coach and done the same thing they've been doing. But they went back I think I listened to interview Yaga Usini Kaizer Mthetha, and I like what he was saying in terms of going back to grassroots development, working with young players, style of play being attractive, the brand looking like when we are winning, we're winning convincingly. So now to instill that, and Zwane echoed the same message, in the last 10 years, I think even maybe in the period Therapeuts for the first time, or even before, we haven't been playing good football. And that's where obviously we've been having trophy droughts. Yeah. We've been coming out of finals, losing and all these things. So he's bringing back the culture, bringing back the love of going to stadiums, supporting the club whenever we can. So I feel most people, if they don't understand that vision, being a Sundowns didn't start yesterday, last year, or 2 years back. It started long way back, 2012, 2011, when they were still now experimenting with different coaches and making mistakes on their own. So let's not compare our brand or our club to the top three, because we also have our own way of doing things. So if you can allow that process to come to effect, that's where we can be able to see, okay, Zwane is a fit. But now at least he even himself said, even if after me, I want to make sure that I leave a foundation where even any other coach, a player comes in, they'll just feel like a club. But so I believe in what he's saying, end result that in that case. And yeah, let's continue supporting Amakosi, and we'll see whatever January is coming. So we'll see what signings they're going to make. But I'm expecting good signings because the Super League all around the corner in August. So I think that's why we have to sign more players. And Sibongiseni with these contracts, Matoho. So yeah, that's my final remarks in terms of let's support our club and let's see what's going to happen in the future or in this coming season. Yeah.
No, Walter, my brother, thank you so much for joining us. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, remember, equals Alpelumo.